Hello, people. I'm your host Neha Soni, aka Eha S, and I welcome you all to Wisely Weird. Here we talk about knowledge, self love, learnings, and creating your own place in this world with a hint of entertainment. Thanks a lot for joining, and let's get started with. So, hello, people. Um, how have you all been? Welcome back to Wisely Weird, first of all. And I know it's been like a while that we have get back on this recordings. And yeah, I'm really sorry for that. And how are you all doing? If I talk about myself, then personally, I've been doing like really great. I would say for the like first time because for the past month, like the month of February, it has been a really great month for me, for a month of learning in like both personal and at professional level. And to add up to this learning part, I would like to invite like a really special guest for today. Like, you know it already. That's why you clicked on the video. You know it already. So, she is a confidence and a motivation coach, a global entrepreneur, a personal branding expert, a influencer, a podcaster, and obviously a very cool person. Yeah. Like, why I'm hyping this so much? You already know her. It's Ayushi Mathur, people. Hello, Ayushi.
Hi, Neha. Thank you so much for thank you so much for such a sweet introduction. I love how you spoke about me, and thank you so
You
much for having
deserve
me
it.
here. And I can't wait to explore the topics we've been discussing.
Yeah, like for this like episode especially, I was so excited. I had so many topics in my mind to discuss about, but I was like, okay, I need to keep something for like later episodes when we have Ayushi again for the next season. So
Sounds
I
good.
need to hold something back. Yeah. Like I believe everyone here. So first of all, tell me how have you been doing?
Like you said, your February was amazing. Yeah, I also learned a lot in February, but the last week of February wasn't that great. I wasn't very productive, so I wasn't feeling amazing about it. But I'm so glad we're in March now. And it's the 1st of March, and I'm excited for what this month holds.
Before moving any further with all the discussions that we're supposed to have, I want you to tell our audience about your story, your journey of becoming the Ayushi Mathur that you are today. So, like, share your story in brief, like, what have been your struggles, your success, and your failures in this journey.
Hmm, interesting. So I'm not sure where to start, but in brief, if I had to say, I have been a student of life. And when people say that, when I've heard other people say use this term, student of life, I used to always find it very weird, right? Like, wait, what? What did you just say? But then I realized that's who I am as well, because I've been learning new things since I was a child, since as far as I can remember, like ever since I've had like the first memories of conversation, I've just been learning. And that's my favorite thing to do. Learning about new things, about new facts, new history, culture, this and that, lots of things. So that's what got me on my journey of everything that I do today as well. I started as a biotechnologist. However, even though I love biology, the career was not for me. It was a very lonely career, and I'm a people person. So quickly, I pivoted into marketing and learned branding, personal branding, marketing completely on the job. So I started taking up projects and I kept learning while doing it, failing and learning and failing and learning. So it's been 5.5 years since I run my marketing agency. And it's been a year since I've been coaching. And as a certified life coach, I've been coaching people with their life problems. That happened because, you asked me what struggles I went through initially, like in 2019, 2020, when I was in the first few years of my business, I was surrounded by people who stripped away my confidence, who made me second guess everything I do, how I dress, how I speak, who I speak to, everything. And that's not a good place to be in. And I hated that. And my self esteem crashed and burnt. So I had to build myself up again from, let's say, mid of 2020 till now, today, and I'm always building. So in doing that, I realized how happy I can actually be, how empowering it is to build yourself back up. And that's why I do what I do, help people build unshakable confidence.
That's so inspiring, Ayushi. Like I've heard people talking about you, about your story a lot, and that's also a reason that I got connected with you. And as we like talked about earlier, this topic, that when people started commenting those things on you because they found you different, right? Like the way you dressed, as you just talked about, the way you behaved, right? So this is not the point that we were discussing earlier, that people tend not to accept the changes or the different, like different in air quotes. So, like, what are your opinions about it? Ki, why it happens and how people should see the change and the different things around them or different people around them, the
Hmm.
acceptance towards it.
So, in my personal journey, what has happened is that I've lived in a lot of different cities and even countries. I've also traveled a lot. I've changed what, seven schools in my life because of moving around and close to 10 houses. So, when I meet people, majority of the people have stayed or been brought up in a similar environment most of their, teenage life and like young life until they decide and choose to move out for work or something. So for them, most of the time, in my personal experience, I have been an outsider. I've been like an alien. I've been different because I've been the kind of person who has lived in different places, dresses differently, talks differently. The way I sound is also very different from, like, people usually ask me, where are you from? I can't tell from your accent, right? Or I can't tell from the way you dress or the way you speak or the way you behave. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not from one place. I'm from a lot of places. So that's what people found different about me, and they couldn't relate, right? So there are two types of reactions that you might get at this in this situation. One, people would be in awe of you. They'll be curious. Oh my God, I want to find out more about you. I want to be your friend because you're so different. But then when insecurities come up, there will be some set of people who will make you feel bad about being different. They'll want you to fit in to the kind of conditioning they have, to the kind of person they have been brought up as. So, oh, if she doesn't dress this way, then there's something wrong with her. If she doesn't, express this way, there's something wrong with her. If my values don't match with yours, doesn't mean that it makes one of us wrong, right? It just means that we have been brought up in very different environments. But not a lot of people are able to see that. And I'm sure you might have experienced that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I named my podcast as Wisely Weird because for my whole life, I've been like seen as wo outcast person, somebody who is so different from other people around. Like
Hmm.
always, in every tiny thing that I do, I have always been that different person, like
Hmm.
that person who never fitted in.
Hmm.
So I have felt that like a lot. And okay, so I want to share this with our audience that for the reason I like this podcast thing happened, like I don't know, like it's just a fluke that this podcast thing happened. But I connected with Ayushi for this reason that again I founded myself like not being like fitted in that slot of society. And even though I'm a person who usually never like cares about what people think of her, what people talk of her behind my back or even in front of me, I usually never cares. But
when the people close around to me, who are really like really attached to me, when they keep on telling me that you are doing this wrong, you need to change this thing in you, then I felt like maybe, like, am I doing it wrong or do I need to change? Then that was the point I decided to contact Ayushi, and she told me that no, I do not need to change at all. I can be open to the idea of change, but I do not need to change myself for anybody. Like, even though those people are like closest to me and dearest to me. And I'm really grateful for that, Ayushi. You just like remove that cloud from my like brain.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you were able to see that, and you said it, summarized it correctly. Because no matter what people around us want from us, it's good to, of course, respect their boundaries and their expectations. But if it gets into our boundaries, right? If it gets into who we are, our identity, our boundaries, then it's not fair. If they're asking us to change completely because it's not similar to how they express, how they live, then yeah, that's not fair on us. So I really believe that we need to carve our own individual identities, and they're all carved by all the experiences that we're going to have and we've had in our life, right? No two people, even identical twins, lead the same life. Even identical twins lead very, very different lives and grow up to become very different people. Then why should we conform to what the group wants us to do?
Very true, very true. Like, if I put it in more layman terms, like अगर मैं ऐसी हूँ then Ayushi could be different from me. तीसरा इंसान वो और भी अलग हो सकता है, उसके beliefs अलग हो सकते हैं. Like we follow different religions, ठीक है? People could follow different beliefs. मतलब there are a lot of different people. I believe, as you just mentioned that you have lived like in a lot of cities, a lot of different countries as well, and you have experienced people like somewhat growing up or somewhat like coming from the same background,
Hmm.
same like what do I call it, जो learnings दी गई हैं उन्हें, ठीक है?
Hmm.
So I believe people, I haven't lived in that many cities, but I have observed a lot of cultures and a lot of people from different countries, and I came to realize this: people can be so similar yet very different individually. Somehow, if we see everyone, if it's from the east, from west, everyone is so similar, like very similar, but yet they are so different individually. And this is maybe what make everyone special. And next question that I want to ask is related ki now we have realized ki everybody is different,
Hmm.
and how do we accept that difference? We have realized it, but the acceptance part, what do we like practice to like accept this different identity?
So it takes time, right? It's not going to be that Aj you wake up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to accept that I'm different, right? I'm going to just be proud of myself and just live my life. It doesn't happen that easily. But over time, you have to keep reminding yourself that I do not have to be or need to be like anyone else. What I bring to the table is unique. You have to think from the point of view that what are you worth, right? You decide your worth. We always, when we are young, especially like you mentioned that your audience is very young people, right? Like teenagers and early 20s, हम हमेशा क्या, किस प्रॉब्लम में फंस जाते हैं कि हम दूसरों को हमारी वर्थ डिसाइड करने देते हैं, दूसरों के फीडबैक पे, द वे दे बिहेव विद अस एंड ऑल दैट, वी डिसाइड that their behavior or the way they treat us decides and defines our value and our worth. But that's not true. I decide my worth, right? So, in order to accept your difference, also, I would suggest a very coaching kind of an answer to your question. It is make a list of your strengths, make a list of your weaknesses. right? And the thing is that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. It's not like you're only going to have strengths or somebody will just have strengths. You will have weaknesses. And sometimes when we are young, we will have more weaknesses than strengths. But that is okay. List down your strengths, list down your weaknesses, see how you can use your strengths to grow more as a person, and how, if there are any weaknesses that you can change, that you can grow from, that you can learn from, do that, right? Doing that kind of a 360 evaluation of yourself will help you accept yourself for exactly who you are.
You have explained it so wonderfully. Like, we did talk about this earlier, like that 360 examination of yourself. You even advised me to do that. I really like that idea, like to getting to know yourself first and then accepting it and then focusing towards change, right? And accepting the change in others as well at the same time.
Hmm.
Yes. And like moving forward with the same idea, I've been talking to this friend of mine earlier, and she have been constantly, not just her, but a lot of people have been constantly saying this, that we lack confidence a lot. And I could not find maybe another like good person to talk about this, like how to enhance your confidence. Because many people say ki, okay, we are in a group of friends, okay, if all of the friends are doing this and that, okay, including like going out partying and even doing drugs or like anything, ठीक
Hmm.
है, if like हमारे friends या हमारे आसपास के लोग ऐसे कर रहे हैं, but we do not want to do that, but you still falls into that game of FOMO, the fear of missing out,
Hmm.
and you just start doing the same thing. Like one of my friends said, like told me that around her, all the girls were like into makeup and everything. They were like using a lot of products on themselves, but she did not want to apply makeup on her face. She wanted to stay as she has been.
Hmm.
But because everybody was like being so fancy and applying so many products, she got lured into, she felt like she is like not confident enough, she's lacking somehow, and then she started using makeup products as well, even though she did not want it to. So that that is like what we call lack of confidence in being yourself, or lack of confidence in like generally. Because if you are taking a decision and you are influenced by others, okay, what they are doing, this generally happens when you are in the age of like this teenage and young adult age. um even if we talk about work life, कि सारे लोग मेरे आसपास ये कर रहे हैं, this person is working in this firm, this person is doing this internship, but I'm not doing anything. So that again leads to the point of FOMO, or like lack of confidence. How teenagers and young adults should react to this?
Hmm. Okay. So the first thing, I'm going to contradict a little bit. You gave me the example of makeup, right?
Yeah,
Um, Not necessarily makeup is a sign of lack of confidence, right? I know you didn't say that, but I'm just clearing it out. That, see, if a lot of people are dressing a certain way and doing makeup and all that, it's okay to try, right? It's okay to give it a try. Why not, right? See if makeup makes you feel better, right? Like I love doing makeup not because somebody else does it, because I find it very interesting. Like it can make me look like a whole different person. So I find it fun to do, right? Like it's a fun thing for me. But at the same time, in the last couple of years, I've found the confidence in myself to go anywhere bare skin as well. That okay, this is what I look like. I do have a lot of acne scars. Doesn't make a difference, doesn't make me any less confident, right? So I'm not going to be that person who's going to tell you to not try just because your friends are trying. Try everything in life. I'm telling you, I have tried everything in life and I don't even want to name everything right now. But try everything, because only then you will know if it is for you or not, right? So, first is
definitely.
try everything. And second is, you said jobs and all. And I'll tell you what, this is a personal experience as well. I run a business, right? So, in being a business owner, your business might make a lot of revenue, but you can't give yourself a ton of salary, right? You can't take up all the money. You have to pay your employees, you have to like reinvest in the business and all that. So, even after 5.5 years of running my business, I am earning less than my counterparts, like my friends who were in school with me, who are now working for Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and things like that, right? I mean, brands like that. And they are making what, 60L a year, 70L, 80L a year, right? And when I look at them, and that is their personal income. And when I look at them, initially, just 1 year ago, even, I used to feel, I wouldn't say jealous, but I used to feel that, oh my God, they're putting in so much less work than I am, but still they're making so much more money. They have this job that I don't have. But then
This
what I
this
did,
happens with me a lot as well. Yeah. Like when I see myself, yeah, I'm putting this much effort in
hmm,
a day. I've been doing this, and like everything. But like my friends and like my other colleagues who are not putting as much effort as me, but
hmm,
they are like earning more, or they are like more, they have gained more success in their life without putting much of an effort. And on the other side, while I am doing so much of work in a day, and that also like leads me nowhere sometimes. So it is kind of, I am not hesitant to use the word envious at all. I don't
hmm,
find it negative. So I am going to use the word that I do feel envious sometimes, that okay, so this is wrong.
exactly. No, all humans feel envy and jealousy and all that. It's not at all, it's not, it doesn't make anyone bad, right? People on the internet have made jealousy sound like such a bad thing, but it's not. We are humans. I'm going to look at what you have, and I'm going to feel bad that, oh my God, I don't have it. Right? That's human. Um, but at the same time, then it comes down to, why do I feel this way? Asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel envy? Well, I feel envy because, let's say, they have a lot more money and they have much less work. Because I'm working on the weekends as well, and they're not. They're going out for staycations on weekends. But then I ask myself, who chose this path for myself? With my skill and ability, can I not work for Google or Amazon or maybe non-tech firms? I tell
Very
myself, of
true.
course I can, right? Of course I can. I am smart, but I chose this path for myself because this is my true calling. This is what fulfills me. So today, even if I make half the money that they do, or even 1/10 the money they do, I'm going to bed feeling extremely fulfilled. I love my work. And just knowing that, having that knowledge that, okay, I chose this path for myself, I can change the path whenever I want to, made that envy go away completely. Or FOMO, made it go away completely.
If I talk about myself, I know a lot of people would relate to it. Um, like many a times, it's not like I feel bad for the line that I've chosen. I am really happy and I'm doing like a lot good in my line. But like there are some points. For example, as we were talking about the kind of environment that we are raised in, so it also impacts that part in your life as well. Okay, for example, if somebody lives in a like larger city or larger town, for example, a metro city, Delhi, Bombay, or in some place where you're provided with more and more opportunities, but on the other hand, somebody who is really hardworking, but to isn't provided with that many of opportunities around them. I know internet has bridged that gap a lot, and like for that reason, we are recording this podcast right now. So yeah, internet has played a major role in bridging that gap, but still, when it comes to like getting those opportunities, it is still provided to those people a lot who are living in a better like infrastructure, who are provided with like better opportunities. It is easier for them. And they have to pay like less attention, work less in that manner. Whereas I'm a person who belongs to a very like smaller town. And I put in efforts every single day, as you said, even working on the weekends, like working more on the weekends, I would say. So that like do generate like bit FOMO in you, that
Mm-hmm.
maybe you're missing out at some point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, there are so many factors in this, right? A lot of people are born into generational wealth who, three generations up, they've had money. They've had a lot of money. So, if they're born into something like that, they're obviously going to have a lot more opportunities as compared to somebody whose family has started from scratch or who themselves is starting from scratch. And like you said, geography also, the location. If somebody who's born in, let's say, Bangalore or Mumbai, right, they're going to be exposed to a lot more different education, different environment as compared to somebody who's, let's say, born in a much smaller town or a third tier city or town, right? But the thing is, we cannot choose where we are born at all. But we can definitely choose, thanks to the internet, what to do with our lives next. I mean, a lot of people will end up getting in the blame frame, right? That, oh, my parents don't have money, so it'll be very difficult for me to make money also, or I don't have this, so I can't do this, right? It's very easy to get in the blame frame. But we have to remember that today, I all in the present moment, I will always have the choice to make a different choice, to change what I want to do. And just like you are doing, right? You said you're not in a big city, but you're a podcaster, you're a content writer, and I'm sure you're doing many other things. You're working on the weekends also. So you're already doing things that people around you, your counterparts in your city, might not be doing.
Very true, very true. That's why I never ended up fitting in the place.
Yeah.
And is it like very no normal? We should let it go. Like कोई बात नहीं, कभी कभी feel कर लिया, हो गया, ठीक है. Next day start working again.
If you see, you'll see a lot of your counterparts like other podcasters and content creators in a place, in a media place like Mumbai, right? And they might be doing a lot more fun things. They might be doing these podcasts in person and doing much more successfully, or whatever you call it. But the thing is, where can you find opportunities to do better? Whenever you start feeling FOMO or envy, just ask yourself, okay, fine, what are my options? What are my opportunities? What can I do? It should never be that, oh, why am I here? Why is this happening? It should always be, what can I do? What can I do next? And
More, more like making the best use of what you have. And
wherever you are, exactly, wherever. And this happened with me also. So, what had happened was, in my high school, I did IB, right? I didn't go to CBSE, I did International Baccalaureate
that's the
Diploma.
way.
Yeah, yeah. So, that what happened was that 90% of my classmates ended up going to US, UK, Australia for their graduation, for their undergrad. And my parents, for multiple reasons, did not let me go. They got scared that I'm just 17, 18. How will I live in a country like UK by myself? And how will we fund something that major? Because to live there for 3, 4 years, it was close to costing us more than 80, 90 lakhs, right? And that's bizarre for bachelors. People who can afford it can afford it. We couldn't at the time. So for a lot of reasons, I couldn't go. And I had to choose a university in India. And the thing is, at the time when I was doing my undergrad, a lot of universities in India did not even know what IB was. So they were looking for traditional education. They were looking for, okay, are you not from CBSE or ICSC? What do we do with the kind of subjects you have? Because in IB, you're not allowed to take three sciences like PCB people take in CBSE, right? So I did not even have physics. So a lot of Indian institutes would not even allow me to take admission because I didn't have physics. So I had to go to the institute that allowed me, and I'm very, very grateful for that college. But the thing is, it was such a jerk of a shock to me because all my friends went to US, UK, and all that, and I stayed back. So that FOMO, that sadness, I remember back then, right before going to college, for 2 months I cried. I just cried. I begged my parents to let me go, and I cried a lot. But then the day I got to my college here in Mumbai, right, I decided that I'm going to make the best of this. And from that day onwards, I took part, I participated in every event, every cultural activity, every sports activity, everything. And I made sure that I was always on in top 5 or top 7 of the class, at the same time participating in all the cultural activities, sports activities, events, this and that. Ended up becoming the general secretary of in my third year. Ended up starting a new football team for women. Ended up coaching them and being their captain. Lots of things
Wow,
happened, right? Saying that's because I tried to make the best of the cards I was dealt with.
that's such a powerful learning you just gave. Even though I do follow it, but like sometimes you do fall into that trap, but like it's just a reminder to me and to a lot of people that bad things happen, life happens a lot of times. So
Exactly.
you are just supposed to like make the best out of what you are given, like what mothers do, what they do. जो भी kitchen में पड़ा है, they make the best food out of it, right? जो भी fridge में है, they'll make the best out of it.
Exactly.
So this is what we are supposed to do. Like it's such a small thing, and we like hear it repetitively everywhere on social media, but like keeping this in mind and following it regularly is a different thing altogether, and that's what we all need to learn.
whoever is listening to us, आपने कभी पोकर खेला है या फिर तीन पत्ती खेला है या कोई भी ऐसा जो गेम होता है ना कार्ड्स का, पोकर या तीन पत्ती टाइप, या खेला या लोगों को खेलते हुए देखा है, तो यू विल नोटिस दैट अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स द विनर is not the one who has the best cards. Sometimes the winners are people who had the most random, smallest cards. It's just they made the best of what they were dealt with. And that's life exactly. Life is like poker. Life is like तीन पत्ती. आपको अगर अच्छे कार्ड्स नहीं भी मिले हैं ना, can you keep betting on yourself and win eventually?
That's like super super inspiring, and yeah, like it's all about betting on yourself, now how you trust yourself, if you believe you can do this or not. Like
Mm.
that's really really inspiring. And this because there are a lot of things that I want to talk about, is I just want to go randomly like on different topics.
Mm.
So this another topic that I want to discuss is abhi ki jo generation hai, we
Mm.
people in 20s, तो इतना ज्यादा कंपटीशन है ना सब जगह, like getting into good universities, getting a good job, और मतलब बहुत ज्यादा competition, that we want to do it all at once. Like हमें लाइफ में सेटल भी होना है, अभी अभी स्कूल से निकले हैं, ग्रेजुएट भी नहीं हुए हैं, we want a job and everything. We want our love life settled, we want our work life settled, everything. We want to work in like good packages. मतलब सब कुछ सही चाहिए, सेट चाहिए एक ही बार में. And like वो we want to grow up too quickly, like 21, 22 और 25 तक तो आते आते लोग सोचते हैं हम तो बहुत बूढ़े हो गए हैं, अब तो जिंदगी खत्म होने को आई.
Mm.
So this does happens a lot these days. Like people feel like they're getting older, they want to get like settled very soon. So among all these, one thing that people tend to forget is that everybody grow at their own pace.
Yeah.
They believe कि अगर कोई 18 साल में किसी ने कंपनी खोल ली है, and if that person is like earning this much, 200 एम्प्लॉयज उसके नीचे काम कर रहे हैं, you can be different from that person. It's not that the same thing is going to happen with you. If you are going to open a company, there's a high probability that it's going to fail and won't end up as that person. So people need to understand this कि they are allowed to fail and grow at their own pace. This is something they are like lacking in understanding. What's
Mm.
your take on it?
So two things you mentioned. One is competition and wanting all these things very fast in life, very early in life, right? Like always hustling. The hustle
Yeah,
culture is mad in early 20s right now. um,
everybody wants a Porsche, like parked in their like garages in a huge bungalow itself.
yeah. So the thing about competition is, again, I'm gonna use the same reference. When you play Teen Patti, right, there are 52 different cards. No two people will have the same cards. That's not the probability, right? So it's against probability that two people can have the same cards. So life is like that. So even if your friend lives in the same city, has grown up in the same school and all that, their background, how they were treated by their parents, their family, their caretakers, versus how you were treated and what you've had in your life is very, very, very different. So what they are able to achieve, what you're not able to achieve, and vice versa, cannot be compared. Comparison should just not exist in this world. I don't know why and how people compare when two people are so different, their experiences are so different. You know, I have a brother, right? But we all often joke amongst ourselves that his parents are different and my parents are different, even though they are the same. But the way my
Happens.
exactly, right? Like the way my parents have treated me and have raised me is so different, so zameen asman ka fark as compared to how they've treated him
I
and me.
wanna ask, are you a first child? I wanna ask.
Yeah, yeah, I am.
Okay, I am the first child as well, so we are the experiment kids. We are the experiment kids.
So think about it. No, like if I can't even compare to the human who has literally grown up with me, how can I compare to anyone else? वो जो कर रहे हैं वो it is based on the cards they were dealt with. It is based on their experiences. How can you compare? Compare करके कैसे मतलब do you get it? Like अब the only place you can compare maybe a little bit is is if you're learning something. If you're both learning something, then are you able to make the best out of it? Or are you too distracted? Are you too caught up in your own limiting beliefs, right? That way you can see that, oh, my friend, no matter what life throws at him or her, he or she is able to get out of it very fast. I want to learn that from them. So that is something that you can take notes from other people. But otherwise, competition and comparison will get you nowhere. You'll just live your life feeling bad. You'll never be happy for what you have. And the second thing that you mentioned, that this race, that this speed at which people want. Now, I'll tell you honestly, I'm 29 and I've been running my business for 5.5 years now. And at times I feel absolutely burnt out. Now, imagine if I had started at your age or in teenage. Of course, I've been hustling, I've been doing a lot of things back then also. But if I was always in this mindset that, oh no, I need a Porsche, I need a this, I need to, whatever I need, right? And I need to keep running, keep running, keep running, then I would have, I don't think I would have been alive today. I would have just died of burnout. So burnout is real, and young people today don't realize that. They think, oh, I have so much energy, let me use it, and let me like do this, let me do that. But please, please, I would request whoever is listening, please take care of your mental, physical, emotional health. Otherwise, you will burn out and crash so bad that it'll be much more difficult to recover from that than to slow down right now. People don't pay attention to how important slowing down is.
I can totally relate to it. We like the last time we were talking, I did told you about this, right? Ki,
Yeah.
when we keep on like working, or like if we keep on doing anything continuously without taking a break, then you'll end up burning out so bad that you won't be able to like recoil back or even work on that thing again for the longest time. So, like from this is from my personal experience that I'm talking. So
Hmm.
if you want to continue that one thing for like your for the longest time possible or for your whole life, we need to like take breaks now. We
Hmm.
need to take breaks so that we can continue working on it again.
Hmm.
And like I just want to ask you this as well. Like you are working a lot and on different projects or you are doing a lot of things in your day-to-day life. So how do you keep yourself away from like this burnout and burning yourself up from all the work that you're doing? What are your like cheat codes for this?
I do. I mean, there was a time when I used to work a lot, like 12, 14 hours a day. But now my work life is very, very paced out, very chill. Um, I started delegating more. So I have a team now. Thank you to them. Thanks to them, I'm able to give them the work. And there's this one lesson that my dad taught me and has been talking about for years now is that heavens are not going to fall. If I delay something, the sky is not going to fall upon me. So it's okay if I take a break right now. So I usually just think of that okay, I have to finish this, I have to get this done. But you know what, if I need a break, if my body needs a break, it needs a break. So I usually take a break. Throughout the day, I end up like if I, right now we're recording this podcast, right? And we are speaking for what, an hour. And then, of course, I'm going to be tired. Of course, I'm going to like need a break. If I jump back into work right after this, it's not doing justice to my body. So I will take 15-20 minutes, sit back, read probably for a little bit, and then get back to whatever I needed to do. So throughout the day, I keep taking these small breaks of doing things that I absolutely love. So it's either reading or talking to my family. I love these two things, and I usually do that. Besides that, yeah, besides that, you have to schedule time for distraction and breaks in your calendar. You have to make time for breaks as well. It's not that okay, जब काम खत्म हो जाएगा तब break ले लेंगे. नहीं, make give yourself that much importance यार कि अगर हम दिन भर अपना टू डू लिस्ट बना रहे हैं, टू डू लिस्ट पे ही लगे हुए हैं, तो अपनी टू डू लिस्ट में हम कहाँ पे आते हैं? Where are you in your priority list? So make a list which has you in it also.
That's such a wonderful point here. Like, because I've been in that place and I have started doing this, like putting myself in that to-do list as well. And from my experience, I'm telling you this that it just changes your life like 360.
Hmm.
You feel less, matlab, pura irritated. You feel less stressed. You feel less tired. Like okay, I love coffee a lot. So what do I do? As you said, like after recording this podcast, you'll be taking a break. I would definitely go and make myself a good cup of coffee.
Hmm.
Like these things, just these tiny things which makes you happy, or maybe I'll like doodle or sketch something. I like
Hmm.
sketching and painting a lot. So maybe I'll make some tiny character or something. So that would make me more relaxed. And I read it somewhere that when you do these things, which like mostly crafty things and creative things like writing or like doing something with your hands, okay. So these things are a form of meditation as well,
Hmm.
right? Because okay, this was so shocking a thing for me, like an eye opener. Because when we meditate, what we do, we focus on our breathing. Either we focus on that chant that we are like speaking, or like we focus on something like that one particular point, right? And when we are doing these creative things, our brain is also focused on that one thing only. We are
Hmm.
not distracted. If I'm painting, I'm not going to think about like what happened in Ukraine or what happened somewhere else. So
Hmm.
I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about that sketch that I'm preparing. If I'm
Hmm.
making a coffee or I'm cooking something, I'm going to focus on that rather than thinking about what happened in my friend's life.
Hmm.
So these things are a form of meditation, like we do unknowingly, And this is what helps us maintain a balanced life, I believe so.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You're right. That's a really good point, actually. When we, being in the present moment, I would call it, right? If you're not, you decide to do something, you decide to read, or you decide to meditate, or you decide to have fun, even, right? If you decide to have fun, but you're constantly, your brain is in your work, you're stressed about your work, then that does not count as a break. So a lot of people make this mistake. They'll be like, okay, they'll force themselves to take a break, but then they'll continue thinking or stressing about work. That I have to get this done, I have to get that done. So instead, just be in the present moment. When it's your fun time, have fun. Forget about work.
Very true, very true. Like, I get to ask this a lot, like from my friends and different people, that because I'm doing so many different things in a day,
Hmm.
don't I get distracted while I'm doing the other task? Like, if I'm doing the task A, won't I be thinking or being distracted by the task B? ये करना है, ये किया था. So, like the same question. I believe you must have been asked this a lot as well, because you are handling this company, you are like playing your role as a life coach, you have your personal life as well, and I believe you must be doing a lot of different things in your life. So, like, same question for you. Like, don't you get distracted? Like, when you're doing one thing, don't you like start thinking about the other thing as well?
So my brain works a little differently because genetically I have ADHD. So I cannot do one thing at once. I'm not, again, everything I'm saying from now moment on about this particular thing is just about me. So for me, I have my own system. I've recognized it. I cannot do one thing at once because that's just how my brain works, right? But if I've taken time out to have fun, I will have fun. I will 100% be in that zone. So the bigger picture will be the same. But if I'm working, I like to do a lot of different things at once because that's what keeps my brain occupied. Otherwise, I will go crazy, to be honest.
Yeah, I can totally relate. It's like there's this kink. Like my brain works like this, that I cannot work simply कि एक काम दे दिया बस उसको करके रख दो.
Hmm.
I need to have that constant pressure on my brain. Like वो होता है ना, when you shines under pressure, or you work
Hmm.
like you
Yeah.
shines best under the pressure wala thing. I need to do a lot of things, put that pressure on myself to like be the best, or to like take out the best out of me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
totally relate with the multitasking wala thing.
And that's why I think that's why I do so many projects at once because and that is exactly why I can never do a corporate job and I've never done one because I would go crazy.
Like, and the simple answer to this question is that people like us, or the other people who do multitasking and who are fascinated about doing so many things like at a time or in a day, they just focus on the thing that they are doing right now. Like
Hmm.
we are like talking, or we are recording this podcast, we are focusing on this. Maybe next moment we'll be doing something else, but we'll focus on that thing. ना, we are not going to think about कि वो पॉडकास्ट रिकॉर्ड किया था पहले, वो कैसा गया होगा, आयुषी ने क्या सोचा होगा, लोग क्या सोचेंगे सुन के. I'm
Something
not
that's
going to think that ना.
exactly something that's over is over, right?
Yeah,
Like once we're done with this podcast, I don't think either you and me should think about, oh, did I do well? Did I this? Did I nothing? It's done. We've recorded it.
absolutely. अब वो जो words निकल चुके हैं, record हो चुके हैं, they are done and it's going to go up. It's all fine. And whatever people are going to react, they're going to react. अब उसका भी क्या ही कर सकते हैं. So
Exactly.
very simple. Like हो गया वो, focus on the next thing now. Yeah. So, like, while we are talking about confidence and being very optimistic about life
Hmm.
and how to manage different tasks and society around you and understanding yourself, I want to ask this question. Does there exist a concept like over optimism or overconfidence?
I know that a lot of people use these terms a lot. I never use them because I wouldn't say I don't believe in them, but overconfidence and over optimism is used in a very negative connotation, right? So,
Yeah.
recently I was studying this research which mentioned that people are born a certain way. Like their brains, some people's brains are wired to be optimistic, some people's brains are wired to be not. Obviously, we can condition ourselves to think a certain way, to think differently, and all that, to not be overthinkers and all. But the thing is, what is over optimism? If someone is a very negative person and sees the worst in things or the worst possible outcomes in things, to them, someone like me is going to sound over optimistic. But according to my life, I am a realist. I look at what is the best case scenario that can happen. And that's, to me, that is very realistic. So, optimism, I think, is very, very subjective. Again, to someone I come off as very, very positive, very optimistic, always laughing, always smiling. To some, I come off as a realist. It depends on your frame of mind or your mental map. How are you wired? How do you see things? Whereas overconfidence is, again, even I don't believe in overconfidence either, because a lot of times I may come off as overconfident to people only because I have that faith in myself. Earlier today in a coaching call, I was talking about it, where I was the client, that I know that even if I'm failing in the short term today, if I put something out and it doesn't make sales, or if I do something and it doesn't get me results, doesn't matter. I know in the long run I will make it. To some people, that would sound very arrogant and overconfident, but to me, it's again realistic. I know my capabilities, I know what I can achieve. So, in the long run, I know I will be successful. So, how is that overconfident? Like, both these things, I believe, are very, very subjective.
Agreed, totally agreed. Like, as we say, it's not completely white or it's not completely
Yeah,
black, it's gray.
absolutely.
Yeah. Like that's very simply and wonderfully explained by you that it's very subjective along with a lot of things. So we need to be like open to see how we are reacting and how the other person is reacting to the same thing. It
Hmm.
depends on that. Also, moving towards this another point, very, very important. I have covered this point in episode 4, where I discussed about unpopular opinions as well.
Hmm.
And one of the and this topic was that people these days are highly impacted by social media. Their mental health is highly impacted by social media, and we all know it, right? Like
Hmm.
when we are especially talking about very sensitive topics like being depressed and being anxious, right?
Hmm.
So these things I believe have become trends these days. Like people have hyped them up too much, like to this level. The actual meaning of depression and anxiety or like related mental health issues have taken a back foot here. People
Yeah.
are like um ill aware, people are unaware of the real meaning of these mental health problems. They are just assuming कि जो general sadness है, that is depression. ठीक है? If you are like before going for like an interview or before going for a like before going on a stage, if people feel a bit anxious or people feel a bit nervous, so they would term it as anxiety,
Hmm.
right? मतलब people are not aware of the right meaning or the exact meaning of all these mental health problems, I would say. And because of this ill awareness, they keep on using these words randomly, creating very like hawa or trend out of it.
Hmm.
And like, what is your take on it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because ever since this whole awareness towards mental health has come around, everyone wants to be a hypochondriac and label themselves as, oh, I have anxiety, oh, I have OCD, oh, I have PTSD, oh, I have, like, there's so many other terms as well, right? And one of my fellow coaches, he's also a life coach and an NLP practitioner, just like me. We talked about this, and he even made a video on this, that people use these terms so lightly. I have OCD, I have PTSD, and things like that, right? But the thing is, bro, you don't understand. Well, first of all, you may have it. You may clinically be depressed, clinically have anxiety, but it's better, before you announce it, go to a therapist and find out. Go to a professional and find out. Instead of, what has happened? If I can be candid and use the term that I use, people have bastardized these terms a lot. Now, when someone who is actually struggling with clinical depression, and clinical depression can look very, very bad. If someone's actually struggling with clinical depression and they express it to their friends or their loved ones, they might not be taken seriously. And that will have serious consequences. So instead of just throwing around these words like masala, right? Like, or table salt, first understand what clinical anxiety, what clinical depression actually means, what clinical OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, actually means. Because the people who clinically are affected by these things lead a very different life than just feeling sad because somebody broke up with me, right? So they're very different things. Understand them, find out from a professional, either a doctor, a therapist, a psychiatrist, someone who is legally entitled to give you an opinion, or legally bound to tell you what, to diagnose what is wrong. Don't just go diagnosing yourself and then announcing it to the world. It's, yeah, it can be dangerous for a lot of people, including yourself.
I believe लोगों की गलती भी इसमें थोड़ी सी कम है. I know they should be like making sure like कि if they are actually suffering from it or not and consulting a professional for it. But I believe on when it comes to social media now
Hmm.
or like internet, people tends to believe numbers a lot.
Hmm.
Like अगर किसी के इतने followers हैं, इतने के और इतने million followers हैं, they are going to believe whatever that person says. ठीक है?
Hmm.
And if YouTube pay or Twitter pay, anybody who is having a large number of viewership and followers, people are going to blindly believe whatever that person says.
Yeah.
So that followership or that viewership also comes with a huge responsibility of you providing the right kind of content. But as we as we know, many people don't do it. They don't realize this responsibility. And अगर कोई एक इंसान है who is having like for example 1 million followers,
Hmm.
ठीक है, if that influencer comes on Instagram and maybe he or she or like anybody who had a breakup, ठीक है, and they keep on saying I feel so depressed because I had a breakup and all, then it
Hmm.
is going to influence the newer generation and their viewers that okay, so अच्छा breakup होता है तो फिर लोग depressed हो जाते हैं, वो उसको depression समझने लग जाएंगे. This
Absolutely.
is
Right.
influencing their brains as well, na? The like wrong information, I would say.
Absolutely. And you're so right, because as an influencer or as somebody who's public, right? Regardless of whether you have millions or not, you hold a responsibility to your audience, to people, because there are lots of children on Instagram also. There are lots of underage people who are watching you, and they are going to emulate you because they hold you in such high regard, right? And personally, I can't speak for other people, but personally, I have never used the terms depression and things like that, because I know I have never been clinically depressed. I've had clinical anxiety for which I've taken therapy, and my therapist has helped me through it earlier, and I've talked about it. Because again, I'm talking from my perspective. I'm not giving advice, I'm not giving anything like that. I'm talking from my perspective only and only, my journey only. I would never use these terms lightly, and that's what I think all of us influencers, social media content creators should keep in mind as well. Who are you influencing? Even if you influence one person, that's a huge thing.
Very true. Like, if those people are not going to change, as you said, it is our personal responsibility before like tagging our own self ki, okay, I'm like struggling with depressions or anxiety or OCD or anything.
Hmm.
We need to consult a professional for that,
Hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
Moving forward from this topic, I know we have taken a lot of time of yours. We're gonna just cover one more topic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I also like suffer from this sometimes. That very like commonly discussed topic is the how to maintain that balance between your mind and your heart. Like maintaining that balance is so important. And the problem with me is that sometimes I comes out as the person who use her brain only. Many a times I do come out like that because I like to make my decisions rationally,
Hmm.
and like they are supposed to be well thought, they are supposed to be well searched about, and then I'll make my decision over it rather than whatever like जो भी मन में आया वो कर दिया. But there are a lot of people who like make their decision with their heart. ठीक है
Hmm.
कि for example, if you are like if you have some people working for you and you are to fire someone if that some
Hmm.
person is not like working well and is not required in the company anymore, you're like what else you can do other than firing that person, right? सो यू हैव टू फायर दैट पर्सन. अब ये तो नहीं सोचते बैठोगे कि भाई उसके घर पे क्या होगा, ठीक है, उसकी माँ बीमार है, उसकी बहन की शादी है. यू कैन नॉट think about that in that manner. You have to use your brain rather than your heart. So how to maintain that balance and how you maintain that balance in your life of heart and mind?
Everybody operates differently, and there's nothing wrong with it. But over the time with your experience, you do realize that when is the emotion side of you needed, when is the logic side of you needed, and when is the instinct side of you. So when we were training to be coaches, life coaches, our mentor taught us that people operate from three places. One is their head, their heart, and then their gut. So technically, biologically speaking, it's all in their brain only. It's your prefrontal cortex, which is the main decision making part of your brain. Then there is the limbic system, which is the emotional part of your brain, and then there's the subconscious mind, which is your instinct or your intuition. Technically, it's all that, but we call it the heart, the brain, the gut. So it's very important for, in order to lead a happy, fulfilling, great life, whatever life you want to lead, it's very important to find a balance between all three. You have to operate at times from your head, at times from your heart, and at times from your gut. In order to do that, you need to first be very, very, very self aware, understand yourself. Keep doing these value checks on yourself, like keep doing these evaluations on yourself, um, every month, I would say, or every week, like depending on how much time you have or how often you want to do it. Every month, like today is 1st March, so I think this is a great thing for you and me to do. Just sit down, take time out, and reflect on February. Reflect what decisions you made, what happened, what were the consequences of those decisions, socially, professionally, personally, all of those. What could you have changed? What could have gone differently? What could have been better? Where were you coming from? Was that an instinctual decision? Was that a emotionally led decision? Understand, see yourself from a bird's eye view. See your life from, like, up top, like you're looking into your life. When you do that, you'll automatically realize what kind of decisions you're making, where are you operating from, and over time you'll get an idea of what is what, like what is logic, what is heart, what is gut. It takes time for people to get into the gut space, and it comes with practice. But some of the best decisions are made by instincts, and instincts are nothing but your subconscious mind telling you what to do. Because a lot of times we miss out on information that is in front of us, but our subconscious mind records it. It's somewhere in our brain. And tomorrow, if you have to make a big decision in your life, there'll be this tiny voice or this tiny feeling inside you which will be like, hey, don't do that. I don't think you should do that. Something might go wrong. And even if logically this feels like the right thing to do, this seems like the right thing to do, even then, if you have that voice, no, that tiny little, and no, it's not fear, it's not stress of you, it's just this voice of wisdom. So it's just this voice that is saying that, okay, you know what, something might go wrong, so evaluate again or check again if this is the right decision. That is your subconscious mind telling you of what you don't know consciously. So yeah, I hope that answer might have been a little confusing, but there are three spaces to operate from. Yeah.
That was not confusing to me. People, if it is confusing to you, can always like go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
Use technology. Yeah, but I would say you were so wise there in explaining this point. Like, I did not even imagine that you are going to explain it like this, and it was so simply explained. And this activity that you mentioned, I'm gonna do it, and yeah, it's such a great opportunity. It's 1st of March, and we can reflect on the path that we have lived. And I'm definitely gonna do it before going to bed tonight.
Mm.
And I will post it on Instagram, whatever my learnings have been after this activity, and I'll tag you there. People, you should do the same too. Whenever this episode comes out in a couple days, it won't be late, but you can like still do this.
Make it a habit of doing reviews and reflections on what has happened till now.
I'm so definitely gonna add this in my schedule now.
Yeah.
Thank you for this valuable advice and a lot more that you have enlightened us about today. And before wrapping this up, I have a like tiny game for you. It's
Hmm.
gonna be a like rapid fire game.
Okay.
So be ready. You
Okay.
can like use a couple words there, not more than a couple words. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Resilient, happy, confident.
Your love language.
Gifts.
Gifts of what sort?
I mean, I like giving gifts. That's how I,
Okay, in general.
yeah,
One best thing about you.
about me. I can be friends with anyone.
One worst thing about you that you feel like you want to work on or you need to change.
I am very stubborn.
That's also a good thing in one manner, I would
Yeah.
say. So, okay, one book you wanna recommend for people to read right now.
The courage to be disliked.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, what is your like top learning in your life, abhi tak ka?
Stop learning. You have to respect your own boundaries, otherwise no one else will.
Wow. Wow. So people, that has been Ayushi Mathur with us. And thank you, Ayushi. I know I have taken a lot of your time. You can rest now.
This was lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I can't wait for this episode to come out.
Soon, we are going to air it soon. And I also can't wait for our audience to listen to it and be enlightened about all these topics that we have discussed today. And people, if you want to connect with Ayushi Mathur or to have a consultation call with her, which is like very free, you can connect with her, and all her social media handles will be linked in the description. You already know that. And thanks so much again, Ayushi, for being on the show. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining me today, people. We'll meet you next Saturday with a brand new episode. Also, you can go and check out my book, Clouds, available on Amazon Kindle. And don't forget to follow Wisely Weird over YouTube and on the social media platforms for more updates. All the links are in description. And it's me, Aha S.